QuickBooks.com under the Events tab. You will also be able to see our 2 upcoming webinars. December 8th, we'll be having a fishbowl inventory and Avalara webinar. And on December 15th, we'll be joining with TSheets again on an FLSA webinar. Now, we are muting all attendees today, but if you could please put yourselves on mute if we don't catch you in time, that way to cause a little bit less background noise. Ebs Associates is a nationally recognized business providing virtual accounting services. We provide full charge bookkeeping and payroll services, project accounting services, financial controller services, data migration services, software implementation services, and a variety of consulting and training services. Ebs Associates is an Intuit Premier reseller. We are authorized by Intuit to sell, implement, and support QuickBooks software. We are also a TSheets preferred reseller and solution provider. I would now like to introduce Dan Buckingham from TSheets. TSheets is the #1 rated app for Intuit, and TSheets is about to demonstrate what an amazing product they offer that Ebs Associates fully supports by providing implementation and training services for. Dan, are you ready to demonstrate to these webinar attendees how they can save time using TSheets and the integration between TSheets and QuickBooks?
Good morning, Kelly. I am very excited to be presenting.
Wonderful.
Go ahead and grab. Kelly, let me know that you can see my TSheets, simply the best time tracking and scheduling software screen.
We sure can, Dan.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So excited to be here. Thank you, everybody, for joining on this beautiful Wednesday. What day are we on? Tuesday, Wednesday? One of the days of the week. Again, my name is Dan Buckingham. I'm one of the product specialists here at TSheets, and I'm really excited to be presenting to you about our TSheets integration with Intuit Payroll. So what is TSheets? Well, TSheets is simply the best time tracking and scheduling software for your business. Who are we as a company? We're 100% cloud-based. What does that mean to you? That means that you as a business owner, as an employee, as a manager, or anyone within a workforce has access to their time cards, to approvals reports, and all of those things, all from the web. Access it from a laptop, from a computer, from a cell phone device, from an iPad, anywhere, full access. We were born and raised in the cloud. Updates happen on the regular, so new product features are brought on a weekly basis. We have about 40% of our clients within the construction or field service-based industries because of our capabilities with our mobile workforce application. We have a full Android and iOS optimized application that employees can log in out in the workforce. They can clock into jobs. They can track their time. We pull GPS from their mobile device, and all of that gets put back up to the cloud for business owners to review, approve, and send off payroll and billing and invoicing within QuickBooks. What does that mean? Again, accessible from virtually anywhere. No longer are the days of paper time cards and coming back to an Excel spreadsheet at the end of the day where your payroll specialist or your accountant or bookkeeper will have to do all the calculations for you. Wasted manual data entry time is now gone with TSheets and the integration with QuickBooks. TSheets has been around for about 10 years, and we've been based on customer feedback. As I said, we update our product on a weekly basis with new features. And that all comes from you guys out there utilizing our product, seeing what features you like, you don't like, submitting requests back to us, and us moving on the fly and creating our product better. As Kelly mentioned, we are the #1 customer rated and requested application in the Intuit Apps ecosystem. So if you were to go to apps.com, you would see TSheets with over 2,500 customer reviews of happy customers. Those are 5-star reviews as well, that customers will be saying, we love the customer support, we love TSheets. Go ahead and go check that out. And we were created by a business owner. Our founder, Matt Rissell, 10 years ago, out of up here in Boise, Idaho, actually owned a franchise with 30 employees. He needed a better, more cost-effective way to manage his employees' time, and created TSheets with his buddies. What are the business challenges that TSheets, implements? Why does EBS work with us? Why do we have the clients that we have? One, time is a precious commodity and an expensive resource to waste. As I mentioned, we were created by a business owner, Matt Rissel. He had about 30 employees. And the way he had his employees tracking his time 11 or 12 years ago was they were similar to what a lot of people are still doing today and our largest competitor, and that's paper timesheets. They were writing down at the end of the day how many hours they worked. And sometimes he noticed that some of his employees would write down, let's say they left the office at 4:45, but their schedule was till 5. So that was 15 minutes. That 15 minutes seemed to be gathered from his time, and he had to pay them out on. Well, if you times that 15 minutes by 7 days a week, and then imagine that 30 employees, every single one of them is taking that from you, that results in thousands of dollars down the drain from unworked hours and what we like to consider called time theft. So he created TSheets, and after his first pay run, his accountant realized that he had saved $2,500 in difference from having an automated time tracking system for his employees to clock in and clock out from when they walked into the office. And actually, the American Payroll Association has done a study that by implementing, for a small and medium business to implement an automated time tracking system, it will save them on the low end 2% on their payroll expenses every year, and on the high end, and what we see with TSheets customers, is closer to 8% on their payroll expenses per year. So after this webinar, I urge you to sit down and look at your 2016 payroll expenses so far, find out what 8% of that is, and really see how much you could be saving by switching to something like TSheets. Two, I got into that there. Payroll is taking too long perpetuating the problem. Time is a precious commodity. You shouldn't be spending hours calculating payroll, calculating hours and adding how many overtime and regular and doing job breakouts and those types of things. TSheets will allow you to do that from the employee, you to review and approve, and then you to send that right into QuickBooks for your job costing and for your payroll and billing and invoicing. 3, you're at risk of being audited. Kelly briefed on this a second. We're going to have another webinar in December talking about the new FLSA regulations that came out on December 1st. And that's where, if you have salaried employees out there, the wage is now increasing from $26,000 per year up to $46,000, almost doubling from exempt employees that should be receiving overtime hours. So there's really, really important decisions that need to be made by business owners on whether to raise these salaries for these employees, whether to track their time and pay them overtime, or whether to move them to an hourly employee. TSheets can help you make those business decisions. 4, just depending on what type of business you are, if you are a professional services business and you do hourly billing, but you want to switch to value billing, TSheets will give you the ability to track your time in clumps so that you can see how much time you're spending on projects. A better job costing for those field-based companies out there that want to know how much time it's taking them to complete certain jobs and want to get some real heavy financial reporting in QuickBooks. TSheets can help you with that. And then accurate invoicing too, invoicing on actual hours worked versus just a rough estimate of how many hours. And then 5, TSheets totally believes in a fully automated system. So by partnering with companies like QuickBooks and Intuit and creating a full deep integration with them, it truly automates these previously archaic processes of manually entering data in monotonous tasks. So definitely want to talk to you about investing in a complete online time tracking system. Okay, what I'm going to do now for about the next 20 minutes before I hand it on back to Kelly is just give you a dive into TSheets. What does it look like? How easy is it to track time? We also have a full-blown scheduling system. How can I schedule my employees out within the system? I'll show you the scheduling, the tracking of time, the management of that time, reporting on the time, and then finally, where does this time go? Back into QuickBooks, back into payroll. You don't have to key it in after the fact. That being said, I'm going to go ahead and pull over my demo here. Now, as I mentioned, 100% cloud-based. So for demo purposes, what I have in front of you right now is the company name, company demo, that's loaded with some employees that's been synced over from QuickBooks and created the account. When we integrate with QuickBooks, and you'll see this in just a second, we do some pretty incredible things. We pull over your full employee list that's been created in QuickBooks. Pull over your full customers and jobs and the hierarchy that represents your company within QuickBooks. We pull over the service items, the classes, the billable yes/no option. So all of these will reside on a timesheet. If you don't want any of those two and you just simply want a clocking in and clocking out feature so that it can integrate back to your QuickBooks account directly, absolutely, we will just pull over the employees. Not a one-size-fits-all. It can be customized to your business and your needs. Every single company is going to get their own website or domain to go to. So this one's companydemo.tsheets.com. Everyone at the company gets their own username and password to access the account. And these are created upon the sync with QuickBooks. So your account is virtually set up and you sync with QuickBooks. It's incredibly efficient and incredibly seamless. The very first place I'm going to start is go ahead and show you the scheduling system within TSheets. The scheduling system is based off of two mentalities. One, job-based scheduling, and two, shift-based scheduling. You'll see down the left-hand side, I have my full employee list that was pulled over again from QuickBooks. I have my Sunday through Saturday up here. You can see a day view, a week view, and a month view. In order to generate a new shift, I would go ahead and click within this unassigned shift view up here. I'd type out the information of the shift. Maybe this is an opening shift. Maybe I run a restaurant or a coffee shop and I need to have openers and I want them there at 8 a.m. Until 2 p.m. I can color coordinate the shift however I'd like.
This is Kelly. I'm sorry. Can I just ask everyone to put themselves on mute? We have quite a bit of background noise. So if you can, please put yourselves on mute. That would be wonderful.
Awesome. Thanks, Kelly. Hey, Kelly, and you want to mute yourself as well. I'm hearing myself echo back, so maybe if you mute your end, it may stop that. I'm not sure. Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and keep rolling. Very cool. So what I've done is I've created a shift here, opening shift. I can color coordinate it to whatever I'd like, so orange. I can assign it to the employees that I'd like. I can select a customer I want them working on. Now, if this is an opening shift, I'm not going to select a customer. And then I can put any notes within here. So make sure the front. And this is truly anything I want to tell the employee that needs to happen on this shift. And then I can go ahead and save this draft. And it's that easy to create a shift for your employee. From here, once I have saved the draft, I can actually drag and drop it onto employee schedules within here. So as you can see here, as this continues to save, you can see these green shifts have already been created. It looks like I've got Hank, Hillary, Janelle. They have 8 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. shifts. I can go ahead and drag and drop these wherever I'd like. I can move these whenever I want, real easy, real-time adjustments to the schedule. The employees always know what they're working on, when they're supposed to be there, how long they're supposed to be there, what they're supposed to be working on. And the beauty here with the application that we have on the iPhone and on the Android, what we can do is we can actually send a push notification or an email notification out to the employee so that they know the second that a shift has been scheduled for them or changed or adjusted, anything like that. Awesome. Alrighty. Guys, don't hesitate too. If you have any questions as I'm going along, feel free to message them out in the question box and we'll get to them. All right, let's go ahead and talk about actually time tracking. So now you have your employees scheduled out for their jobs. They know which locations they're supposed to be at. They know how long they're supposed to be there. Now they actually need to come in and they need to track time. On this left-hand side, you see My Time Card. All this information in here has come over, again, from the QuickBooks integration. The employee has the ability to hover over the job tasks that they need to be completing. Maybe I'm going to go work on customer 1. I click Switch to customer 1. That's going to clock me in and create a new timesheet for me. It shows me my current total, my day total, as well as my week total. So at all times as an employee, I know how long I've worked, and I know all of that information when I log into my TSheets account. Down below here, you see they have the ability to select whether this is billable work or not. We know the class area right here. We can select the service item. Again, all of this coming over into the time card, so they can select which one they are actually working on. And now they're good to go. So if I were on my mobile device and I'm an employee out in the field, it's that easy. I pull out my mobile device, I select which job I'm working on, all of the information pertaining to it, and I put my phone away and I get to work. So super, super easy to use, really, really valuable. Now, something that you may have noticed on this right-hand side is the Who's Working window. Watch as I clock out. So I'll go ahead and clock out. And I drop down to the Not Working Anymore area here. Okay? This is a real-time view of your company. This is showing you who's working, how long they've been working, what they're working on, and finally, one of our best features, our GPS tracking. So their actual location of where they are. Really, really beneficial tool for business owners to have a real-time view of their employees, what they're working on, how long they've been working on it, and where they're located. So for example, up top I see customer 2. And they're working on, I see Beth Jones. She's working on customer 2, project 2, and she's been there for 4 hours and 1 minute. Okay? If I go ahead and open up her map area right here, it's going to open up where she's located. So if I back out, I see a pinpoint of exactly where she's at. There's Eagle, Idaho, as I mentioned. We're just outside of Boise here with TSheets. I've tracked from my mobile device, and I see exactly where Beth is. So imagine that you have 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 employees, and they're all dispersed throughout your city or your state, or over across multiple state lines. You need to know where they're at in real time. Huge, huge benefit here. If I want to know, hey, Beth, where have you been all day, though? What have you been doing? What's the path map? Open that up, and I can actually see where she clocked in, where she clocked out, her movements. We pull GPS points every 10 minutes as long as the employee has over 100 feet. And what that means is basically you're going to see a breadcrumb trail of where they've been throughout the day. So that way, if there's ever any questions about customers saying that your client or your employee didn't show up on site, or you're not quite sure where an employee is, or maybe you're a dispatching restoration company and you need to get someone out on the job site really quickly, you can actually open up this map, see who's closest to that next job, and let them know they need to be moving to that next one in real time. Super beneficial, super good business insights here. Okay, let's go ahead after the Who's Working window. Let's say that you're not on the line with us and you don't have hourly employees. You don't have employees that need to be tracking in real time, in punch in and punch out style. That's absolutely fine. TSheets has a couple different options for you. You don't actually have to utilize our mobile application. You can utilize something called the timesheet editor, input time after the fact. The employees can log in. They can basically state what time they arrived at the job. 8 a.m. I did some work this past Sunday. At 2 p.m. Until 5 p.m. on a particular customer. And we'll know what it was I doing, maybe some overhead work, a service item, and then go ahead and click Save. And there you go. It's that easy to create a timesheet after the fact. So this is for employees that maybe don't need to be tracking in real time, maybe salaried employees that you just want them starting to do some project costing, nonprofits that need to be tracking projects they're working on. Definitely. The next type of time tracking, and the final one I'll show, is basically the manual time card. So again, not for employees that need to be tracking in real time, not cutting back on payroll expenses, maybe salaried employees that need to be bucketing their time. What this manual time card shows you is your full week. The employee can match it to their schedule that they see, and they can actually input the hours they work based off the schedule. So they open that up, they look at here, and they go ahead and say, okay, on Monday I worked on Earthworks Incorporated for 5 hours. Any notes that pertain to this? Anything there? Go ahead and click Save. Perfect. At the end of the week, once they're all complete and they've tracked all of their time, you're good to go. Then what you can do is you can actually have the employees submit time to you for review. So if you're a business owner and you want all of your employees to submit your time, they can submit that time to you, send it to you by clicking the Submit Time in the bottom left-hand corner. Decide which days they want to submit, and you're good to go. We do have full paid time off tracking as well. You know, sick, vacation, anything like that, you can actually track that within our system, accrual basis. You know, every 3 hours work, they get an hour of paid time off. Anything like that can be tracked within TSheets and synced back over into QuickBooks for Payroll. Now, one of the most important parts for our business owners out there is the ability to get all this time data into the next spot. So before we're able to get it over to QuickBooks, what we'll do is we'll run an approvals report to review all the time that's been tracked on our employees. We'll approve it, and then we'll send it over onto QuickBooks. Where does this time data land within QuickBooks? Where we interface with QuickBooks Desktop is within the weekly timesheet. Okay, our time data, the customer information, the service item selected, the class selected, the total amount of hours worked is all going to land and populate into each individual employee's weekly timesheet. Now, it will also deposit itself within the payroll module, so you don't have to key that information in or do any calculations for yourself. And then also will land within the invoicing section so that you can actually create invoices in real time off of your the time that's been tracked. So what I'm going to do in TSheets before that's done is I'm actually going to run an approvals report. I choose the report date that I want to review. Go ahead and go by pay period because that would make sense. I'm getting ready to run payroll. I'll go back to the 30th through maybe the 5th. That's the payroll period I'm going to run right now. And I'm just going to go ahead and run this report. What I'm going to see is a full list of all of my employees here down. I see their total hours worked over here on the right-hand side. I see their regular hours versus their overtime hours versus their paid time off versus their break time. And what I can do from here is I can actually open up their time card, I can see the details, and see all of their job breakouts. So the customers they worked on, the total amount of hours they worked. And then if I keep scrolling down, I can actually see all of the information pertaining to these time cards. So you punch in and punch out the customer, the class, the service items, anything that's pertaining to these particular jobs. Once I'm done and I think this time is ready to roll, all I simply do is click this green approve button on the left-hand side, and that locks the time down within TSheets and basically tells QuickBooks it is now ready to be exported. So again, we are eliminating that need for you to gather all of the data from your employees out in the field, consolidate it to one file, continually key it into another system for payroll and billing and invoicing. We are streamlining it. The employee tracks the time, they submit the time, you review the time, and it gets exported into the weekly timesheet in QuickBooks. And from there, I'll go ahead and hand it on back to Kelly. Again, if there's any questions at all on the TSheets side, feel free to ask them in your questions panel, and we'll get them answered. But go ahead, I'll hand that back to Kelly.
Thank you so much, Dan. I would like to now introduce Gigi from Intuit Payroll Services. Hold on just one second. And Gigi is Ebs Associates Payroll Account Manager over at Intuit, and she'll be going over the different Intuit payroll options as well as a demonstration on the assisted payroll. Gigi, I'll let you take it from here.
Thank you, guys. All right, so what I'm going to do is really focus on the assisted payroll for you guys, but I'm going to give you a quick overview of all the payroll services available at Intuit. And then we'll go over the benefits of assisted payroll, how it works, when and why you would make recommendations to assisted payroll, what the limitations are, how to run it, and then it'll give you some screenshots of the timesheets, including job costing, the payroll with the job costing, and the general ledger report. So first of all, here's a list of the different payroll services that Intuit has to offer. And what we offer are services that work inside a QuickBooks desktop. We have standalone online versions as well as full service online versions, desktop versions, and standalone versions. So the first two here, basic and enhanced payroll, they are do-it-yourself payroll modules that work in QuickBooks desktop. The first one is what somebody would use when they have an accountant or somebody else taking care of their taxes and they just want to cut checks. It automatically calculates the paychecks, it line lists all the tax deductions, and all that information is maintained in your QuickBooks, and when your accountant needs the information to take care of your taxes and do your reporting and filings, you would just give them that report and they can use it to do that. The next version up is enhanced payroll. And that's a complete do-it-yourself option. So you can run your own payroll. It calculates and creates the paychecks. It offers you the ability to report and file your taxes both electronically or in paper format. So you can set up e-file and pay to do it electronically. Some states still require that you send it to them in paper format, so it has all the forms you can print out, and it fills in automatically for you. You have total control of the payroll, and at the end of the year, you can file your W-2s, print them, and send them off to your employees. The next level is our online standalone payroll service. This is also a do-it-yourself version, and it comes in a basic and an enhanced version. So it does the same things that the desktop version does, only it's online. So you don't have to have QuickBooks. If you are using QuickBooks but you still want to have it online so you have access from anywhere, some people use this for security purposes to keep it separate from their QuickBooks. So that's another reason why somebody might use that. But again, you can run your own payroll and pay your own taxes with the enhanced or just cut checks with the basic. The next one up is our standalone online full service payroll. And again, it's a tax service version. You still control the payroll. You log in online. You run your payroll. You transmit the data to Intuit. And Intuit takes care of all your taxes, quarterly reports, and W-2s, and we guarantee no penalties. This one also has download integration into any version of QuickBooks, whether it's Mac, PC, or QuickBooks Online. Assisted Payroll is our full-service desktop version, and I'm going to go over it a little more in detail as we go along, so I'm just going to skip that for now. And the online full-service payroll, this one's the one that actually works inside of QuickBooks Online. So like the assisted payroll, it just runs in QuickBooks Online. You control the payroll, transmit the data to Intuit. Intuit handles all the taxes, quarterly reports, and W-2s with the guarantee of no penalties. If you notice, all of our payroll services are limited to 150 employees. The main difference between our full-service payrolls are the assisted and the QuickBooks Online full-service payroll. They do not support 1099 contractors. You can run them in QuickBooks, but Intuit does not take care of the tax liabilities. And with the standalone full-service payroll, we do. Okay. So assisted payroll key benefits. The most important benefit is the integration. You don't have to do any double accounting. data entry, no journal entry reports. All of the payroll is ran inside of QuickBooks, so all the reporting is there at your fingertips anytime you want it. You're able to run your job costing, class, time, and department tracking and have it all show up in QuickBooks. You don't have to log into another website to view that. You don't have to download any of it. It's all there for you. And a lot of people like to manage everything in one area. So that's one of the main reasons. It is a time saver because it does have the calculations with the tax tables that's done for you. It line lists everything for you as far as all the tax liabilities and deductions. Intuit takes care of all your tax payments and filings. If you want or if you need live checks, you have to print them yourself. We don't actually have check delivery, so that is a must. As far as direct deposit goes, we highly recommend it. We're trying to go green and not do any kind of paperwork or any kind of mailings. So everything is done electronically, and your employees using direct deposit have the ability to view their pay stubs online anytime they want to, and if they need to print them, they have access to doing so. It also, TSheets is a great integration product that helps you run payroll and do the job costing and has it all inside of your QuickBooks. So it makes it a lot easier to run payroll for those clients using TSheets as well. And as far as support goes, we have phone support available Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific. So you can call in and get help if you forget how to add an employee or you accidentally did something that you need to correct or you're not sure how. You have resources there, and we have a specialized group that work with accounting professionals and their clients. So you always get top-of-the-line support. And there's some in-product training and resources that you can always look at if you need help immediately and don't have time to make that phone call. We do offer labor law posters and workers' compensation with the help of a partner who's a broker. How it works. So again, Assisted Payroll works inside of QuickBooks. All your data is there, and your reports are always available to you. If you decide to use Assisted Payroll, we start actually with the order, and then once the payroll module is opened up inside of QuickBooks and downloaded, you'll be working with my partner in activations and onboarding, who will guide you through the setup step by step. They don't actually control your QuickBooks. So if you want to, you can give them access to viewing your screen, but you actually control it and do the data entry. Once your account is set up, they'll walk you through the first payroll. You actually have to log in a minimum of 2 working business days before the check date to run your payroll, but you can do so in 3 clicks. Again, if you have live checks, you will be printing them yourself. Otherwise, if you use direct deposit, the money goes directly into the employee's account, and they have access to viewing their pay stubs online. Intuit will take out the tax liabilities 2 working business days before the check date is when you have to run it, and then we take it out the day before the check date. We hold on to those funds, and then when your taxes are due, Intuit's tax department will fill out all the forms, report everything, and make the payments for payroll to state and the federal IRS on your behalf. And again, we guarantee no penalties. We do require that you make sure you're running payroll on time, you're giving us accurate information to work with, and that the funds are there when we need to pull them out. And again, support is available Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific. So most of the time when people recommend Assisted Payroll, there's a few reasons. They have a small business owner who still wants control of the payroll, but they don't want to be responsible for the tax liabilities, so they don't have to completely outsource it. This is an option where they can do that. Of course, if they want QuickBooks integration, it runs in QuickBooks, so that's another reason. Other small companies who want to outsource payroll so that they can concentrate on growing their business, that's a reason to do so. Any clients using job costing, Assisted Payroll is the only tax service payroll that completely integrates with QuickBooks and gives you a full view of your job costing with reports. And of course, any clients who are using ADP and Paychecks now who may not be completely happy, they may be overserved, they're paying a lot for the service for features that they're actually not using. And then limitations to the Assisted Payroll. The Assisted Payroll does not support companies who have employees in Indiana, Wyoming, or Puerto Rico. You have to be running one of the current 3 versions of QuickBooks. So right now that would be 2015, 16, or 17. It requires high-speed internet connection. You'll be transferring data back and forth from your QuickBooks to Intuit. And it's only available on QuickBooks PC, so it doesn't work with QuickBooks Online or QuickBooks for Mac. It also does not support local taxes. We can create a line item to track the local taxes, but Intuit does not make those tax payments or filings for you, so you'd have to do that on your own. The payroll is pulled out of one payroll account. We can't support more than one bank account to pull funds out of. We can deposit into 2 different accounts, but we can only pull out of one. It also does not support the 943 or 945 forms, strictly regular W-2 employees. All right, so now this is how you basically run payroll. Once you download TSheets, you actually see the screen where you can just run the scheduled payroll. But you would also, if you're just running it in QuickBooks, you'd click on Employees, hit Pay Employees, and then click the Scheduled Payroll to run. That will give you this screen, which is where you would punch in the hours per person. So you click on their name, punch in the hours. You want to make sure you flag whether or not you want to print checks or handwrite checks. And you want to make sure that the pay periods are accurate and the check date. The check date is very important. Like I said, you have to run payroll a minimum of 2 working business days before the check date, so no weekends and no holidays. So you want to make sure that those dates are accurate. Once you've reviewed the information and punched in the hours, you'll hit Continue. And this will give you the option to, run checks. You can print live checks. You can print paper stubs if you want to. If you did have direct deposit, it would show here as well. And then once you're done, you transmit the payroll over to Intuit by hitting Send to Intuit. And at that point, you're done. Intuit will take it from there and transfer the direct deposits to the employees. If you have live checks, you would have printed them at that point, and then we'll take care of the taxes from there. You get copies of your quarterly reports electronically, and it flags you when those reports arrive. Here's a copy of the timesheets. This is what it'll look like if you're using job costing. It'll show you the jobs, the services and what they actually did, and the hours to perform those jobs specifically. And this is what the paycheck looks like for the employees, and it shows them the jobs as well and the hours with all their tax deductions. It'll track sick time, vacation time, benefits, all that good stuff as well. And then lastly, this is your payroll journal entry report that gives you all the information on payroll and what that looks like and all the tax deductions. And that's it for me. So if you guys have any questions, I'm happy to answer any questions. Kelly, are you there?
Thank you. Yes, I am. Sorry, I muted myself. Thank you so much, Gigi. What we're going to do is open this up for the question and answer time for either Gigi, myself, or for Dan. So I'd like to open, Dan, I'm going to unmute you as well. If you guys can please put in your chat window if you do have a question. Now, Gigi, we have a question from Dimitri. For the full service payroll, can we pay direct deposit for contractors?
In assisted payroll, you can pay them. You can set up the direct deposit. However, at the end of the year, with assisted payroll, Intuit does not file the taxes or report them or create 1099. So you'd have to do a separate e-file service for that.
Okay, what about the full service payroll?
The standalone online full service payroll does support the 1099 contractors. You can offer them direct deposit, and Intuit will report and file the 1099s, print those, and ship them off to the contractors as well as the W-2s to the employees.
Okay. Okay, and one of our EBS team members has a question, Gigi. What about the garnishment payments? And if you need them to elaborate, just let me know.
No, I think I understand. Intuit doesn't pay the vendors or the agencies for any kind of garnishments, any kind of benefits. We'll track it all. We'll create line items that'll show up on the pay stubs that show the deductions so that they can keep track of it and run a report. But they'll be responsible for running the report, getting those final numbers, and paying them as if they would pay a vendor.
Wonderful. Okay, Dan, and we have a question for you. Does TSheets allow you to track time from areas with no service?
Oh yeah, great question. So the mobile application will provide GPS location as long as they're in cell reception. Now, if they go somewhere that's not in Wi-Fi or LTE or 4G or 3G or anything like that, that's absolutely fine. You can actually still utilize the application, and the time will still be tracked. And then once it does get into cell phone reception, it'll shoot back up to the cloud for review by management. So absolutely use it outside of mobile services.
Awesome. Thank you, Dan. And Gigi, back to you again. How do you properly set up vendors in QBO for the full service payroll?
Well, I don't know the exact steps, but it's part of the setup team's job to help you through those steps. They'll actually ask you for the information and enter that data for you, as well as any history of any of those vendors. If you're setting up for direct deposit and you want the 1099s created at the end of the year, they'll help you through that, and they'll set up the information and put in that history for you.
Awesome. And that's also something EBS Associates can absolutely help you with. So if we have any unanswered questions at the end of this, you guys just please feel free to give us a call. Dan, I have a question for you. So do we need to track vacation and sick time?
Do we need to? Oh, do we have to track vacation?
Do we have to?
No, not at all. So the PTO is within our time tracking system. If you don't want to utilize TSheets PTO tracking, you absolutely don't have to.
Okay. Okay. So Dan, back to you. Can you use TSheets with enhanced payroll? And can I set up employees as I have some paid out to another account that does not use QuickBooks? So I guess that's both for you and Gigi. So Dan, I'll let you take it over.
Yeah, absolutely. So if I understand the question correctly, it looks like you want with enhanced payroll and connect it to TSheets, but then maybe have some employees that are paid out of a different file or a different system. The answer to that is yes, you can connect TSheets to the enhanced payroll QuickBooks with that QuickBooks file. And then TSheets can also be used as a standalone, the same exact account, and time data can be tracked within there, reviewed, sent elsewhere if need be. It's just that, the time won't get sent back over into QuickBooks for those employees that don't have user profiles within.
Wonderful. And Dan, we have another one for you. Are there job cost detail reports we can run that summarize the payroll items instead of breaking out each employee, instead of breaking each out by line?
Yeah, great question. This one is probably in tandem with Gigi. If you're integrating it with QuickBooks Desktop, Enhanced, Assisted, or any of the payrolls, the job costing reports won't break out line by line. It'll take into account the payroll expenses, and map all of that together. Gigi, do you want to go into talk about that a little bit, or I can keep it on the T-sheet side if you'd like?
Sure. It's basically going to tie into the jobs and how you set that up inside of QuickBooks. So when you download T-sheets, my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, Dan, is that it'll tie into the classes inside of QuickBooks. So all that information will download into QuickBooks Desktop and the Enhanced Payroll as well as Assisted. Is that correct?
Correct. That is correct, yeah.
Okay, wonderful. And Dan, we have a question on pricing for T-sheets. Can you go over that and what we're able to offer our customers?
Yeah, absolutely. So with your partnership with EBS, our retail pricing is $20 a month base fee and $5 per user fee, plus $1.25 for the scheduling add-on. But because we do partner with EBS, we are able to offer a discounted rate with you. So actually what I'd really like to do, Kelly, I hope this is okay with you, we'll just get with those people that have those questions after, and we'll get them their answer right away.
Absolutely. I think that's a great idea. So we have a question from Rachel. For T-sheets GPS, can you integrate it with car sensors, or does it only track from your phone?
Ooh, that's a good one, Rachel. Thanks for that question. Currently, we don't integrate with any on-board or on-vehicle tracking. The phone, we have some clients that what they do is actually put in a stand within the drivers or the trucks that they have their employees utilizing, and the phone attaches to it, and they can track from the who's working window where they are throughout the day. And then smaller movements that the employees make within the map are seen and look more like an employee's actual footsteps rather than the car tracking, but nothing that integrates directly with a mobile fleet tracking right now.
Wonderful. Okay, Gigi, I have a question for you. How does you kind of touched this a little bit, but how does the job costing work within inside of QuickBooks?
So basically, job costing allows you to track the job so that you get full profitability range and overview of the account. You can track the employees. You can track the expenses of supplies, the materials, the labor, and it gives you a complete overhead of everything going on at that job so that you can make sure it's profitable. And if you've overspent, that gives you a better idea. So if you need to make some adjustments, you can do so to make sure that it's a profitable job.
Wonderful. Okay, so we have another question here from Patricia. If a job is set up in T-sheets, do we need to manually set that up in QuickBooks, as we have several sales estimators setting up their estimates in QuickBooks, or drivers, so will T-sheets automatically set up the job into QuickBooks when I integrate employees' times into QuickBooks?
Yeah,
so
really
Dan, I think that's for you. So can you?
Yeah, for sure. Good question, Patricia. QuickBooks, with the integration, we actually create the streams of the operation. You'll want to add the jobs of the customers in the QuickBooks file, and then sync it to T-sheets for the employee's use or tracking against those jobs. If you have daily jobs that come up, not be entered into QuickBooks on the fly, then what our customers have done in the past is they create a bucket job code that's a new job or new customer or new estimate. And they bucket their time to that, and then within our freeform notes field, they fill out what that new job is, and the approver or the reviewer then can view it at the end of the day, end of the week, review all of the no job or new job, update the QuickBooks file, sync over, update the time cards, and you're good to go.
Thank you so much, Dan. Let's see here. So Dan, this is another one for you. Does T-sheets have a kiosk or central location to clock in and clock out capabilities?
Yeah, really good question. We actually just released this month our kiosk mode. So basically, if you're a client that has a manufacturing warehouse or an office staff or you know, a department that is in one central location, you can, on an iPad or a tablet device, actually download a kiosk format for TSheets. The individuals or the employees will actually get a PIN number, you know, 4-digit PIN code to come in, clock in the morning, take a break, put their PIN in at the end of the day, and clock out. It's a really, really, really efficient way to capture time data on a work floor in one centralized location via a kiosk setup. So absolutely.
Awesome. And Gigi, this one's for you. Is there any way to have the employee name in a field on the QuickBooks timesheet? So when pulling the time into a time, no? Okay.
Now, the timesheets in QuickBooks are strictly in QuickBooks. They would have to have access to QuickBooks. So if you want your employees out in the field to have access to a timesheet, we recommend TSheets for that.
Awesome. Thank you, Gigi. Do we have any other questions? Okay, it looks like we have another one. Hold on one moment. Oh, Ellie, thank you so much for asking all these questions. I love it. PTO tracking in TSheets and QuickBooks doesn't seem to ever match up perfectly. We've had settings mirror, but accrual amounts and balances still slightly off. PTO tracking in TSheets and QuickBooks. Oh, okay. Same question repeated. Dan, do you know why that may be? If they're slightly off between QuickBooks and TSheets, or Gigi, do you have any input on that?
Basically, when you set up the payroll module, that's one of the line items they help you set up. And what they require is if the employee accrues time off per hour or per pay period, so that's all set up that way. And I'm not sure how that integration works with TSheets. But if they're not set up exactly the same, then they won't match, and that's why they would be slightly off. But I can't think of any other reason unless they weren't set up exactly the same. What's your thoughts on that, Dan?
Oh, Dan, do we still have you?
I'm on mute. Definitely. I'm so sorry that you're experiencing that. Ellie, what I'd love to do is set up a call and actually see what's going on, and hopefully align you with one of our support reps to walk you through. So thanks for bringing it up, and we'll reach out to you after.
Awesome. Do we have any more questions from the attendees? Again, this will be recorded. We'll try to help with some of the audio issues that we've been having today. But thank you all for your patience. If we don't have any questions, I think that we can wrap up. Thank you so much, Gigi and Dan, for your time today.
Thank you for having us.
And
yeah, thank you.
So and we'll be reaching out to everyone and making sure that everyone gets the recording. And thank you all for joining us today. Thanks, everyone.